Good afternoon, everyone. So today we'll continue with the class of Biostatistics Part 2. So here we'll talk about sampling. Sample, it is a group of individuals who are the part of the population called the universe, reference, or parent population. Sampling is the process of selection of the sample of appropriate characteristics and adequate size. Sampling frame is the total of the elements of the survey population redefined according to certain specification. Sampling unit is the individual entities that form the focus of the study. Advantages of sampling: it reduces cost, time, and number of personnel involved, allows thorough investigation, provides adequate coverage of sample units. The ideal requirements of sample are size, coverage, representativeness, efficiency, measurability, feasibility, goal-oriented, and cost-effective. Sampling techniques is of two types: probability sampling and non-probability sampling. This we will discuss in detail. So probability sampling is of four types. In random sampling, we select the sample in a random fashion, which is very effective, but it is done for the smaller groups. Stratified sampling, in which the study population is divided into subgroups and stratas, and then the sampling is being done. In systematic sampling, it includes every nth observation of the population in the study. In the cluster sampling, clusters of observations representing the population are identified as sample population. The non-probability sampling, first is the convenience sampling, which is obtained in the sample of people or units which are most convenient according to the convenience of the investigator. Judgment sampling, selecting a sample based on individual judgment about the desirable characteristics required of the sampling units. Third is the quota sampling. It is similar to the judgment sample, but requires that the various subgroups in the population are represented. Errors in sampling, that can be of two types: sampling error and non-sampling error. Sampling errors can be because of the size or the study design. Non-sampling errors includes the coverage error, observational error, and the processing error. The type and collection of data. The data is mainly of two types: qualitative data and quantitative data. Which qualitative data is based upon the attributes or qualities like gender, etc. And quantitative data, it is measured like arch length, width, etc. The collection of data is done in two ways: primary source, that is the first-hand information obtained by the investigator himself, and secondary source, which is obtained from the records. Methods for the primary data collection, it includes direct face interview, face-to-face contact with the person from whom information is obtained. It enables measurement of subjective phenomena. All information can be corrected accurately, and it cannot be used for the extensive studies because it is a time-consuming process. Second is oral health examination, used when information is needed on oral health status. Cannot be considered for extensive study. It is expensive and has to consider the treatment. Third is the questionnaire method, in which the informations they are being requested to fill the questionnaire personally. Easy to adopt is there, it is economical, but the informant, they should be literate to understand the questionnaire, and the data has to be analyzed and interpreted. Next, coming to the presentation of data. The data collected through the research and survey is the raw data, which is difficult to understand. We have to sort and classify the data to make it simple, concise, and meaningful. So there are two methods: tabulation and charts and diagrams, which we will talk about in detail. So first is the tabulation, that is the table. This is how a table looks for the statistical data. Types of table. First is the master table. It is the table which contains all the data obtained from the survey. Simple table, it is a one-way table which supplies answer to the question about the single characteristics of data. Frequency distribution table, a true column frequency table. First column lists the classes into which the data are grouped, and the second column lists the frequency of each. The number of class intervals should not be too many or too less. Class intervals should be of equal width, and class limits should be defined. So this is the three main types of the tables: master table, simple table, and frequency distribution table. Next method is the charts and diagrams. So they are the most convincing and appealing way of depiction, provides a bird eye view of the entire data, have a lasting impression, and facilitate comparison of data. So it has some basic rules that it should be simple and consistent, should be self-explanatory, value of variables presented on x-axis and frequencies on y-axis, scale of presentation should be mentioned. Now coming to various types of charts and diagram, first we have bar chart, which presents a set of numbers by the length of bar. Only the length varies. It can be vertical or horizontal, and it is separated by spaces. So three types of the bar chart is there, as we can see in the figure: simple bar chart, multiple bar chart, and the proportional bar chart. Simple has only one variable, comparisons the categorical data. Multiple bar chart have different divisions, and component bar chart in which the individual bars is divided into two or more parts. Second is the pie chart. It represents a pie and the component represents the slices cut from pie. The total angle at the center is 360 degree. Different sectors correspond to frequency of variables. The segments, they are shaded with different colors and indexed for each of the colors. So this is the pie chart showing the distribution of the dental disease in the individuals, where yellow represents caries, green represents gingivitis, and orange represents periodontitis. Next is the line diagram. So it is the simplest type of the diagram to study the changes of value over time. The time is represented on the x-axis in the terms of hours, days, weeks, etc., with the certain pertaining quality on the y-axis. So in this diagram, we can see the age-wise prevalence of the dental caries, in which the red line will show the prevalence of the caries. It is high during the 15 to 30 years, then it keeps on decreasing, and then again there is high incidence from 30 to 60 years. So prevalence of the dental caries can be seen through the line diagram. Next is the histogram. So histogram, it is a pictorial diagram comparing the numerical data. No space between the cells on the histogram. Class intervals are given on the x-axis and frequencies on the y-axis. So this is the main difference between the histogram and the bar chart, in which the bar chart spaces is there, but no spaces are seen on the histogram. So this is how we differentiate between them. The next type of the chart is the frequency polygon. It is also a pictorial diagram of the frequency distribution. It is obtained by marking a point over the midpoint of the histogram blocks and connecting them by the straight line. So in this diagram, we can see how the frequency polygon is being made. The next type of the chart is the cartogram, spot map, or the shaded map. The maps are used to show the geographical distribution of frequencies of a characteristics. Called a spot map when the information is indicated through dots, and called a shaded map if the shades are used. So it is generally done in the case of the countries or the states or the cities when they are being marked, or when we want to mark the distribution. Suppose we mark the distribution of fluorosis in India. So then we can use the spot map or the shaded map to show the areas which are high prone to the fluoride. So it is very important, and it can be used through dots also, or can be shading also. It has been done. Different color shades can be shown to show mild, moderate, and high frequency of a particular disease. Next is pictogram. So pictures or symbols are used to present data, especially meant for the common man. So it is the simplest type of the method of the presentation of the data, where the pictures can be used and it can be easily understood by the population. And the next is the scatter diagram. So it is a diagram which shows the relationship between two variables. Clusters drawn around a straight line implies a linear relationship, which means it can be a correlation, which can be a positive correlation, or negative correlation can be seen. So this is very important, that different types of the sampling is being done in a study, probability and non-probability. Then we collect the data and we then present it for the statistical analysis. We can present it in the form of the tables, or we can present in the form of the various charts and diagrams. So these are all the methods of the presentation of the data that we have talked about. First was table, which are of three types: master table, simple and frequency distribution table. Then in charts and diagrams, we have talked about bar chart, pie chart, line diagram, histogram, frequency polygon, cartogram, pictogram, and scatter diagram. Thank you.